Hello and welcome to the Knitting Depot YouTube channel. Today we are going to learn the purl stitch. The last two videos we learned how to cast on and we learned how to do the knit stitch. I will link these videos in case you need to go back to them. And we will continue with our project. So purling is basically just the opposite of knitting. So as you saw when we were doing the knit stitch, we have a row of knitting. This is a row of knitting, but this is the back side, which is what the purl stitch looks like. This is a row of knitting, and this would be the back side of the other knit row. So to purl, we're going to still hold our work in our left hand, and then we are going to take our right needle and we're going to insert it the opposite direction. So to knit, we would be inserting this way. To purl, we're going to insert this way. And our yarn is going to be in the front as opposed to our yarn being in the back when we're inserting to knit. So our yarn is in the front and we're going to insert from the back to the front. We're going to wrap it up around on the top and around that needle and then pull it through, and we're going to catch that yarn and make a loop and pull it off onto our right hand needle. Now it's a little bit easier to do the second stitch. Your yarn is already in the front. It's naturally going to want to go that direction. Then you're going to just continue and you're going to insert below the needle through the back to the front, around and through. And then just continue in that same method. And you just back to front. And I kind of hold my needles together between my thumb and my pointer finger, and the rest of my hand is holding my work and the back half of my knitting needle. And that way it kind of helps balance what you're doing. And you're also able to control that tension with your finger, with the yarn on your finger. And then we're going to move our work back to the left-hand side. So you can see right here, this is the back, so this is what knitting would look like. And the back here, you can see we have two rows of purl. So this would have been our knit row, but this is the back, and this is our current row of our purl that we did. So it's going to look exactly like the garter stitch. The garter stitch is knit every row, so you're doing opposite. We're purling every row, so it's still going to be opposite. So it's going to look the same except for these two rows where we did a knit stitch and a purl stitch. So it's going to have those two identical. But let's practice some more purling. Here's our working yarn, and we have our tail. So we're going to sweep that out of the way. You can put it up under and hold on to it so it's out of your way if that helps. And again, we're going to go in through the back. apologize for my hands being in front of the camera. Let's see if I can do, that'll give you a little better angle. And as you can see, you're starting to see the purl stitches on your right hand needle. You can see these bumps indicate a purl, and this would have been the opposite side. This little indentation here, those are knit stitches. That's a good angle for you to see. And then we'll just continue on. Okay. So there's our purling. And then we will do another row, just so we can keep practicing. So make sure your yarn is in the front. Each time you switch hands or end a row to start another row, make sure when you're purling your yarn is moved to the front. And again, make sure that the yarn doesn't split on you. And there we go. We've got another row complete. We're going to switch the work from our right hand to our left hand. There we go. And we'll do another row. Feel free to slow down the video if you need to watch this a little bit slower. Sometimes it helps to go one time or two times slower when you're trying to learn and watch at the same time. YouTube will let you do that. If you're watching these videos on any other platform like Instagram or Facebook, it may link you right over to YouTube to be able to watch and slow down. switch our work again. And here you have a clear picture of the opposite sides of purl. And then your purl stitches are the bumps that are raised. And then you have another row of purl in here, which on this side shows as a knit stitch. So if we turn it over, we can see the same thing. So this would have been the side that we were currently working. So we have a knit row, a purl row, a knit row, a purl row. And that's what it looks like when you're doing the same stitch for every single row. So just keep practicing and doing your knit stitches and your purl stitches. If you want to do a couple rows of knitting and a couple rows of purling, just keep doing it and your scarf will progress. You can create your own unique pattern depending on how many knit rows you do and how many purl rows you do. You also want to make sure as you're going along and doing this that you have the same number of stitches. So we still have 15 stitches. We haven't changed anything. So I like to count every now and again just to be sure. That way you're sure your sides will stay nice and even. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Did we lose a stitch? So we did. So this is a good example. We had 15 stitches and we lost one. So we should have 15 stitches, but we have 14. We're going to continue on with that. But our next video, we're actually going to start knitting a scarf. And the scarf is going to be a little bit of a different pattern. But it's only going to be a knit stitch and a purl stitch. So these two stitches are what you will practice, is the knit stitch and the purl stitch. I'll include the pattern as a link. The pattern will also be on my Facebook page and on Instagram. Feel free to go over to either of those platforms and join. You should also like, subscribe, and share these videos so that you get notified every time a new video posts. But check back soon and we will post the video on knitting the scarf. Thanks so much for knitting with us today, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.